In the coaster community, it's often said that you are your home park's biggest fan and biggest hater at the same time. And that definitely rings true for me. My home park is Lagoon in Farmington, Utah, and it's pretty awesome. Sometimes. Welcome back to Thank Your Ride Ops, and here is my big scripted video I promised you all, fixing Lagoon. Now that I've moved my mic away from my mouth a little bit, let's talk about Lagoon. I'd consider Lagoon to be one of the most underrated parks in America, boasting 10, soon to be 11 roller coasters if Primordial ever opens. Yeah. As well as a large collection of mistreated animals, a campground, an old western village with apparently real pioneer artifacts, and the namesake, a huge, disgusting lagoon. But this park has been operating since 1886, so naturally some parts of it are going to be a little outdated. So to try and get some more ideas for this video besides what I already had, I asked a lot of my friends what they would do to fix Lagoon. And I forgot that they're not coaster enthusiasts and they have friends and lives and don't know what an Immelman loop is. But still, they complained a lot about the price, which is admittedly a much simpler answer than a fully scripted YouTube video, but I digress. Lagoon is expensive. In 2005, Lagoon's adult entry price was $32.95. Very reasonable. In 2017, still pretty good at $75, similar to what you'd pay for a Cedar Fair or Six Flags park. But since then, Lagoon has begun to take great advantage of their complete monopoly on Utah's theme park market. In 2023, if you want to get into Lagoon for one day, the price of admission is $97.95. More than Cedar Point, Magic Mountain, Silver Dollar City, and even more expensive parks like Dollywood and Hershey Park, all of which are arguably much better parks than Lagoon. So, why? One possible reason for price increases is that they were supposed to open their new very expensive ride Primordial this year, but where is it, Lagoon? Where's our ride? Where's Primordial? Anyway, back to the topic. Lagoon is expensive, but if it's so expensive and people are constantly complaining about the prices, why is it so crowded all the time? All you ever hear about is people complaining about Lagoon's prices, but you're still going to wait an hour for Rattlesnake Rapids if you go. Why? Lagoon sells their season passes way too cheap. First thing I'm suggesting for change is either a huge increase in season pass prices with a decrease in day ticket prices, plus the revival of Lagoon's bounce back program, which essentially gave you a second day at the park for like $15. Or something drastic, the removal of the season pass system entirely with a huge decrease in regular ticket prices. I know that second one does sound really insane, especially for a local park like this, but if the park continues to be this crowded, I may start putting season passes through a paper shredder myself. So, really, both of those suggestions were really stupid, but I don't see the prices going down any other way, or crowds going down any other way. So, that's what you get for that. But Lagoon charges these crazy amounts simply because they can, because they're the only theme park in like 300-mile radius. But hear me out here. What if they made the price of admission worth paying? Will they ever do this? Absolutely not. It's Lagoon. But first thing we got to do is clear up some space for some new world-class rides. Now, the first thing I want to talk about removing is Lagoon's Wild Kingdom train. That's where they keep all the animals that I previously mentioned and has been the center of some controversy in the past. These animals are just not well kept. They're always like looking depressed, and it's just sad to go by them on this train, man. And this just needs to go. They need to send these animals to a place where they're really going to be taken care of, and a prime example of a place like that would be Utah's local zoo, just 20 miles up the road. But yeah, first thing to go, Wild Kingdom train, clears up a ton of space around the lagoon and over by the campground, and I have some plans for that area. Of course, hypothetical plans, but plans for that area nonetheless. As for Laguna Beach, I'm not a huge fan of this area, so that makes this one a hard one. Eliminating all personal preference here, having a water park in the middle of your, like, dead center of your park is really weird. But it is a great crowd puller on hot days, so it's gonna stay. As for Pioneer Village, that's just gone. At least the historical part. Lots of people will be really upset until they see what goes in to replace it. But yeah, there's no reason to have this here. And I think the ice cream shop, the barbecue place, and Rattlesnake Rapids, and the log flume get to stay too. But yeah, this just shouldn't be at a theme park. Like, there's no reason to have a bunch of historical artifacts at a theme park. Get these artifacts to a place where people will appreciate them, but get them out of my sight at Lagoon. Do we have a deal? As for some rides, I'd just straight up close just because I don't think they have a purpose, which is a tough one because since Lagoon is such a small park, their rides are not very expendable, but I can think of two that should close, and those are the Rocco Plane and Music Express. They're not super unique rides. There's already two of Music Express. Rocco Plane is just gross and a capacity nightmare, and they have a newer version of Music Express that runs better, so I don't know why they still have it. Plus, that frees up more space around that area that we are trying to get space freed up at for my idea. So we're taking away those. One last thing I wanted to touch on before we get to the fun part of the video. Lagoon has a huge line problem, and that line problem is that they hate switchbacks and bullpens, and they just let all their lines spill out onto the midway for some reason. If I was in charge of the park, the first thing I would do is remove the Canniball viewing area one-way gate and put in a whole bunch of switchbacks and queuing there, because that line has been getting ridiculously long up to like the catapult. So yeah, definitely take that out because it's a huge inconvenience for people just trying to walk around the park. Anyway, I can't believe I just talked about lines. Let's talk about something fun. Okay. Lagoon has 10 roller coasters, eventually 11 when they open Primordial after at least 2 more years of delay. Their lineup isn't all too impressive, with half of them being kiddie or family coasters and all of them having extremely compact layouts. Even Canniball has a relatively packed-in layout for being the big ride at the park. What Lagoon needs is rides that take advantage of the natural beauty of the park. Not many parks are situated so wonderfully at the bottom of a mountain and choose to build their stalled 200-foot drop facing the interstate anyway. Lagoon also has some fantastic plant work around the park, and it's just the perfect park for a new terrain coaster. Now, take a guess as to how many rides Lagoon has that take advantage of the beautiful terrain around them. Did I give you enough time? Well, that's right. It's 0. There's also nothing that interacts with Lagoon's awesome walking paths or midways, and most are either parking lot coasters or maintained within construction walls or fences. So the first big change I'm proposing is the addition of a large-scale, not built-in house, as we see how that's gone with Primordial. Lagoon, this is a cry for help. Please open your ride. I'm thinking of B&M for this one. Translation for people who go outside, B&M is one of the most reliable coaster manufacturers in the world, and they've created some awesome rides like Gatekeeper, The Incredible Hulk, and Batman the Ride. Now the question is, what model do they order? A Hyper could be fun, and a Hyper is a coaster that has a 200-foot drop. A Hyper with a corkscrew over the park's midway would be insane, but difficult due to the skyline going through that area. Some interaction with the Lagoon is probably needed too, as well as cleaning up the Lagoon, so people can actually look in it without throwing up. As the majority of freed up space is around that area due to the animal enclosures and train being gone too. Also, with the popularity of the Bat in the park, a B&M invert would be super popular, but the last thing Lagoon needs is more inversions at the south end of the park. So the Hyper is my personal choice here. Lagoon as a park is relatively light on airtime on their rides, so a nice Hyper with a great drop would be a fun addition. As for the theme, something to pay homage to the Wild Kingdom train would be nice, although I think it would be super funny and ironic if they went with like an animal rescue theme. But yeah, regardless of all previous controversy surrounding those poor animals. But yeah, B&M Hyper. Now, a translation for people who have jobs. An Intamin Blitz is a multi-launch coaster, typically staying pretty low to the ground. They have lots of snappy turns, super fun transitions, and of course they're manufactured by Intamin. I think this would be the perfect fit for Lagoon, even better than the B&M Hyper, as it would fit perfectly right back into that area of the park back there where Pioneer Village is getting torn out. Just build some nice rock work around like you see here on the Maverick POV. Just theme it Western, because that's worked for Maverick. So Maverick is pretty much the blueprint here. You know what? Just bring Maverick to Lagoon. I love Maverick, and Utahns love Maverick too. Just a different kind. Lagoon is admittedly a mess, but you know, it's my mess. I love this park, regardless of how long we'll have to wait for the spider next time I decide to bite the bullet, or how many days go by without them opening Primordial, but I do love the park. Not everyone gets to have 10, soon to be 11 roller coasters within an hour drive of their home, but I do, and I'm glad I do. No matter how bad I want to demolish the campground, Laguna Beach, Pioneer Village, and the train, I know that's the reason Lagoon is so unique. None of the things in this video will probably ever happen because Lagoon is poorly managed, and if construction for Primordial goes on much longer, they'll be too broke to do anything for the next 10 years too. This is just what I'd do, and if you have any thoughts, feel free to let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for watching this mess of a video all the way through. I just have some ideas and wanted to share them with you, so yeah, if you love Lagoon, let's hear what you have to say too, and folks, always remember to thank your ride ops.